situation in the Southeast. Some have said if you release this man, it would lead to peace, and those that have been committing criminality, hiding under IPOB, will be exposed. Is it not time we look at alternative dispute mechanisms to deal with this situation? Is this something the president might consider?
So everything in life begins with the person. Like, for example, are you a Christian? Yes. So there are people, they call them born again, right? Do you know how they became born again? They acknowledge their sins. They repented. They are forgiven. Their sins are forgiven, and then they become born again. Unless there is acknowledgement by the person in question, I am denouncing this. I want people. She talked about the de-radicalization. Then government can intervene. You cannot sit where you sit holding that thought and position that is criminal, and then your uncle, your sister, your brothers are pleading with government to say, bypass all protocol and forgive. First of all, our judicial system, Nnamdi will have to have gone through the judicial process and be convicted before the president can exercise the order.
So, but there's still the presumption of innocence. He can't admit to what hasn't been officially said as a crime.
So if you don't admit, run through the process. You see, this radicalization we talked about, they were not yet charged to court. Some of them while in court. It's acknowledgement. If you don't want to acknowledge, what's the basis of saying, I want to free him? Because some people say, if you free him, we'll handle him.
So,
what I'm trying to say is, Nnamdi Kanu is not different from another average Nigerian. The press, who emphasize on the right of the ordinary man, and when they ask government, they keep saying ordinary man, ordinary. You must talk about the real problem of ordinary people, rather than certain individuals that are the symbol of catchphrase and buzzwords. Somebody has to acknowledge his wrong and said, I want peace with government. I want to renounce what I'm saying. And then you can say, okay, there is evidence cogent to say that this person wants to live his own ways.
So, in essence, I think the summary of what we're saying is that there's going to, the government, the Nnamdi Kanu is going to be detained, and that the presidency will not at any point step into the arena.
The villa is not a police station. The president is not a prosecutor. He's the president of Nigeria, tasked with responsibility to govern Nigeria. Law enforcement will carry out their work, and then people in government will carry out their work. I want to beg the Nigerian media to not choose certain individuals and treat them as more special than other individuals with the disproportionate application of principles. The ordinary man, when it comes to hunger, it is good for the optics to talk about them. When it comes to criminal justice system, you isolate certain individual. It's just like, let's say, corrupt people. Maybe there's a corrupt politician that's been in charge. There's some people who say, leave him. Meanwhile, the other people can be in detention. I made the point clear to you here. For de-radicalization to take place, there has to be acknowledgement and departure from your old ways.
We get your message, sir. So,
thank you.
But that message, we don't know if it's for us. The message also should also be back. We have message.
No, it's actually Moses to you to tell them, because they told you and you asked me.
Yes, but we're also giving the message that we get from the people back to the government.
To the presidency. Which is
the presidency is that what we hear and the pulse we're getting from them is that we need to see the government cutting down on the cost.
Yeah, that will be discussed that for sure.
And effective communication of government policies, because there's a...
Why am I here?
Yes.
Alright guys, the way these people go for that back is what I don't understand. I am really worried for them, Nigerian government. Okay, that man is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu spokesperson, Bawala Daniel. He gets his own history for body. Maybe just leave that one for now. So in case you don't understand what they happen for them, he said Nnamdi Kanu must renounce his agitation and apologize to the nation, Nigeria. Then the process of the radicalization can now begin. The government may now decide if it intends for an alternative dispute resolution to be employed in his situation or not. He said, according to him, he said it is not about his uncles, his sisters, his friends apologizing on his behalf and pleading for his freedom. That Nnamdi Kanu must, first of all, be born again before any other thing can follow. And that is not that born again now. It's what I don't really understand. Because I thought before now, We have rules and regulations that abide this country. We have rules. The courts give judgments, and the Nigerian citizens follow. The government follows. So before we go further, I want you to watch this video of the federal government of Nigeria.
They have violated its judgment, discharging Mr. Nnamdi Kanu of the 6-count charge of terrorism on the grounds that the trial court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the charges against him. The court held that an unlawful and extraordinary rendition without adherence to due process of the law is a gross violation of all international conventions, protocols and treaties that Nigeria is signatory to, as well as a breach of the appellant's fundamental human rights. The appellate court holds that the federal government failed to controvert the allegation that the IPOB leader was abducted in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria without extradition proceeding. The court further adds that the government was ominously silent on the issue, which is described as very pivotal in determining whether the trial court will still have the jurisdiction to continue with the criminal proceeding before it. The court also notes that Nigeria is a signatory to African Union Convention, which it ratified on April 28, 2022, as well as the Charter on Human and People's Rights, which it said prescribed how a wanted person could be transferred from one country to another through an extradition request, which must be in writing with a statement indicating offences for which a person is wanted. The appellate court held that the government's action tainted the entire proceeding it initiated against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu and amounted to an abuse of criminal prosecution in general. Although the counsel to the federal government left the court immediately after the judgment, the lawyer to Mr. Kanu reacts to the judgment.
There was one fundamental issue on which the court today anchored its judgment, this intermediate court. And that is that the lower court never evaluated the mountain of evidence placed before it regarding the forceful capture, kidnap, torture, and extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya back to Nigeria on the 26th of June, 2021.
So guys, that was the judgment of Nigerian court 2022. Yes, October 13th. So you see why this guy is really frustrated with the whole thing. Now the Nigerian government is saying Nnamdi Kanu, must renounce his agitation and apologize to Nigeria as a nation. I beg, wait, now so then they do something first. I think first thing first, let this man be released. You see, the way they are taking the whole thing, that is why we are still here till now. The people who are advising Nigerian government, they know their advice well. Release this man, then let there be a roundtable talk on our discourse, dialogue about the whole thing. You get. Meanwhile, before I go, nothing as they don't come out. They say no matter what, even those when they agitate for Nnamdi Kanu's release, so all of them don't turn terrorists for Nigeria. In fact, Nigerian government not just try and so they release Nnamdi Kanu. That one just day by the wayside. But the thing now be say Nigerian government say Nnamdi Kanu before he go receive his freedom, so he go first of all denounce his agitation. I don't remember say Sunday Igboho, the Yoruba nation activist, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he don't free him. I don't remember when he don't denounce Yoruba nation agitation. No. Why is Nnamdi Kanu on like this? Well, guys, they drop out for here. I beg, drop your comment below the comment section. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Share this video, make it go viral. This is what Nigerian government is demanding for the detained leader. Do you think Nnamdi Kanu can ever do that? Let's hear from you. Thank you, and bye for now.